Hello.
Yes, there she is.
Hello, hi.
Excellent. So our last talk of the last day of this wonderful symposium are Margot Butler and Betti Marenko. So Margot is joining us from Vancouver and Betti from London, I understand. So let me introduce you. The paper title is Not Falling in Love, but Raising in Love. And Margot Butler is an installation artist, cultural theorist, and education activist, working with figurations of implicatedness, which show how enmeshed, entangled, and implicated we are, and how we can work from there. She directs a free school and is an associate at the Institute for Critical Indigenous Studies at the University of British Columbia on the unceded ancestral traditional land of the Musqueam First Nation. And Dr. Betti Marenko is a transdisciplinary theorist, academic, and educator working across process, philosophies, design studies, and critical technologies to investigate the relationships between design, society, and culture, and their role in shaping futures. A reader in Design and Technology Digital Futures at Central St. Martin's in London, she is the founder and director of the Hybrid Futures Lab, a transversal research initiative developing speculative-pragmatic interventions at the intersection of philosophy, design, technology, and future crafting practices. Well, over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. We have prepared a video, and we would like to share our recorded video with you all. So I'm going to just share my screen and press play.
Do make sure to click the thing saying share sound as well at the bottom of when you share the screen. You have to unshare the screen again, and then.
Okay.
So if you go to share screen, and then at the bottom of the window, there should be a thing that says share sound as well.
Yep.
Oh, you have to click that. Yep, great.
Thank you. He's asking me to do something, which I'm going to. It doesn't seem to be working. Oh.
So much for coming to our presentation, which is a performed lecture called Not Falling in Love, but Rising in Love. My name is Margot Butler, and I'm in Vancouver, and I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague, Betti Marenko, who's in London.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us. Two friends stationed in two different parts of the planet, separated by almost 5,000 busy miles and by a deep ocean. Margot in Vancouver and Betti in London, two women seeking to rekindle their connection, who decided to craft connection out of a simple everyday practice, sending each other a word, a phrase, even a sentence every day for months. Each one is like a life form, shooting out tendrils, reaching out. Each one a feeling for the future, receiving each other's text every day precipitates us into the edge of the now as it turns into the then. The process is a reverberation where language becomes alive with effect and sensation.
Each unself-conscious, improvised, random, osmotically breathed, sensed, and felt word is situated in our lives and our locations, in our rhythms and contingencies, miles apart. Each gives a glimpse into our worlds apart as they are coming together. Gathered and performed, they embody the heartwarming tale of two women who met in London over 20 years ago while doing their doctorates together, became separated by life, and then through the pandemic became reunited and happily involved in each other's daily lives, of course, with unexpected insights and plot twists.
In this piece, not falling in love, but rising in love, we feel our daily sent words lacing us together across the time, space, places bright and hushed. As the earth tumbles and spins, we throw our words to each other. Lines on a life buoy, tentacles of a jellyfish, flashes inside cable, pulses of radio waves, anticipated tendrils caught before thrown, a third of the way across Mother Earth.
The shared words that take our fancies that particular day are our portals into each other. And the images of Earth you see in this performed lecture amplify these portals. Seen from below, we join the murky flow of our liminal watery hosts. Seen from space, that old God trick, our words inhabit both day and night at once. We're catching up or down, forward or back, right and left with each other. London's morning is the West Coast's yesterday. Betty's tomorrow is Margot's today. Betty is in the liquid land of sleep while Margot toils. Margot sleeps while Betty roils. We meet at dusk and dawn where day and night hinge. And when the words meet, they annihilate time. If Betty sees Margot typing early enough, a return word might rise to the surface instantly and cross the ocean to meet in the deep middle where there is no time but only water. Refinding our own voices, our voices from before, both falling and rising in love.
The planet we inhabit is a two-planet world, each with their own spatial, territorial, temporal, material, affective configuration, each with its own irreducible position expressed through the alternance of light and darkness, day and night, so distinct and far apart. And yet, in our propensitizing towards each other, we joyfully, ebulliently dissolve them. What appears to be two is actually one, and what seems one is actually two. Through our spontaneous poetic conceptualization of a platform-mediated friend-to-friend encounter, we rise to reclaiming, through word bouncing, word ping-ponging, and wordsmithing, the poetic, imaginative, intuitive voice that too much academic writing can squeeze out of your soul.
We want words to become touch. In taking the time to find the word that encapsulates the feeling of the day, in holding enough space, be it an instant or many long hours, for each day's word or phrase to emerge, we turn imagination into alphabet, into eloquent tactility. Our words never cease to surprise us. They could be a reflection of each other, a recurrent compulsion such as celeriac, or evoke the memory of a future that has not yet happened. For example, scholastique, the main character of a book still to be written.
We strive with the one, two, and what they can turn into. Like a pair of dolphins cruising and playing until you no longer can distinguish who is who, and they appear to have morphed into a deliciously wet hybrid, more than one, yet less than two. In their closeness, they give shape to a new single and singular silhouette,
We are that close, not merging, not merged, only really, really close. Like the jellyfish who, in its wondrous specularity, pulsates at the same non-symmetrical rhythm of a composite part.
We are that close, a gentle touch on the cheek, a delicate sinuousness that words are never enough to capture or to give.
We are reminded with Lucy Garay that if words are never enough, it is because of our genital liquidity, which is always two. What we want to show you now is what we made with this repertoire of words and phrases and the collectives we created all together.
For the umpteenth time,
ebullience is bubbling over. The queen of ebullience tumbling over.
The queen of floating in a furling capitombolo, sometimes mistaken for the princesses of Serendip.
Fuzzy Bardot and Lucite left frangible Ulacan trails, tracing their labyrinthine inventory of
inscrutability and losses, as snow falling while rising in upward Inuit winds.
Pilk silk reeks crescendo catharses of cross-generational feminist solidarity in the crockpot havoc of meing, weing. Wangeshi Mutu's collages read tea leaves theorematically. We are reading tea leaves as alleles, as fronsome, gorsish acclamations of unput down ability. No last dance singing in the rain TaskRabbit gallivanting during a taxi shortage. We slide into acclimatization unacerbically, rejoicing within our coraliferous, primordial, accidental soup.
Our constellations keep on calibrating their cavorting like a chubby crackpot whose carapace is nothing but a coraliferous containment of contentment. We cultivate catnip for a crescendo of consideration. Our catharsis is cross-generational feminist solidarity. In this labyrinthine overwhelmingness, my cavorting is a benthic abyss. My shallow breathing is a rain-wet deluge. A flooding event that makes me floating in a plenitude where intermediate states keep on making waves, producing vibrations. The alchemy of bondage is a kaleidoscopic paniconography, a vertiginous visitation that turns my nape into a sublunar mudslide, my deep breath into a polytremor. Loins on fire, the vivandière is one of the redheads, her tremor, a unification of intimacy.
Sky World. You may have heard the ending of this particular story, but not the beginning nor the pregnant middle. The woman who fell from the sky is the creation story of the Haudenosaunee people, also called the Iroquois Confederacy and the Six Nations of the Grand River, which includes the Mohawk, Oneida, Cayuga, Onondaga, Seneca, and Tuscarora. Their daily Thanksgiving address, a river of words that come before all else, gives greetings and thanks to all things within and beyond our mother, the earth, reinforcing people's connection with the world around them, resting on now our minds are one. This story starts in the sky world, Indigenous hoop dancer. The woman who fell from the sky, also known as Charm, dug and dug so deep she fell through, right through that hole and into the sky. And she began to tumble through the sky, began to fall and fall and fall and fall, spinning and turning, floating through the vast expanse of space. I'm telling this story with Thomas King, the Cherokee and Greek storyteller, from his book called The Truth About Stories, is That's All We Are. Deep breath, deep, deep time. Remember that charm still spinning and turning, floating through the vast expanse of space, and off in the distance, just on the edge of sight, was a small blue dot floating in the heavens. This he repeated twice. And as Charm tumbled down through the black sky, the dot got bigger and bigger. Rain wet. And just as the dolphins said this, they looked up into the sky. Uh-oh, said the dolphins, and everyone looked up in time to see Charm falling toward them. And as Charm came streaking down, the birds caught her, broke her fall, and brought her gently to the surface of the water. Just in time, but where to put her? They could not just dump her in the water. Animacy. Well, as it turns out, the only place in this water world that was large and flat was the back of the turtle. And the mud from deep below, brought up by muskrat and piled onto Turtle's back, became land. Thus, Turtle Island, the first name of what's now called North America. Oh, okay, said the turtle, but if anyone else falls out of the sky, she's on her own. So how many turtles are there? She wanted to know. The storyteller shrugged. No one knows for sure, he told her, but it's turtles all the way down.
And here's more of what we made with words, with phrases. Niche vivandière, unification. Triumvirate pomp, alloys cold fingers with the warm heart.
Presentiment with discernment cavorting, bondage with loins on fire, roses, vibrations, carnival. Stand and howl. Stand and howl from benthic abyss to mother tree tip. Down on risk-averse procurement culture, down with streaky windowology.
Sue the bastardos.
Scupper weak lurching collectivism with wood waves, 1,000 waves, one ocean of grassroots, rimless matcha cream puffs. And while you're about it, nurses, squeeze those chubby, pinky beige, rubbery, pulseless fake arms before immunizing. Down with, or is that up with, compression bras?
We are joined by Zoe Walker, our underwater photographer, crafter, researcher, adventuress, clicking, knitting, wandering, connecting, sewing, driving fibers. See the white umbilicals, the oral arm that feeds and tells the story. Zoe is handling that underwater drone off the Falkland Islands. She's the drone driver of this submerged visualizing sewing machine, electrically neo-tentacalizing this very jellyfish.
Here's us on the right when I finished my thesis, when Betti rescued me, her wobbly friend, to her family's stone house in a medieval village in Italy, minutes before the millennium turned. And here on the water on the left is Zoe, my niece. Zoe is life. Knitting a jumper striped to correspond with global temperature change charts, 2,000 years long, shifting from blue and white to red around the neck. A radical craft maneuver of fibers, translating lifeways into tactile fabrications, into words, into phrases.
And here are all our words. What you see now on your screen is a full inventory of the words that Margot and I have exchanged for months. And now, to conclude our presentation, we would like to set a task for you. We would like to invite you to read these words and to choose one, a word that perhaps speaks to you in a particular way, and to choose it and to commit to use it somehow in the next 24 hours, whether you sneak that word in a conversation or in a Zoom call or in a WhatsApp text that you exchange with someone, or in some sort of nighttime sweet whispering. We would like to challenge you to choose a word and make it alive, as Margot and I have done with the words that we have presented so far. And that's the end. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have fun with those.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Betti, and thank you for coming to our presentation.
Thank you very much, Margot and Betti, for that presentation. It reminded me of stories and the importance of telling stories. And as Haraway said, it matters what stories we tell stories with.